Hello students, I am Dr. Meenakshi Mahur, Assistant Professor, Zoology, Sri Savliaji Government College, Manfia, Chittagong. Today my topic is regeneration. So, first definition of regeneration. Regeneration is that post-embryonic morphogenetic phenomenon which, when temporarily stimulated, brings about repair of damaged cells or tissues or replacement or redevelopment of several body parts or reconstruction of whole body from a small body fragment. The power of regeneration among animals was first discovered in Hydra by Tremblay in 1740. In vertebrates or invertebrates, the capacity of repeated regeneration is present, but it varies animal to animal. That is, the capacity for regenerating organs or the whole body is common in lower animals than in higher animals, like protozoans, sponges, coelentrates, uh, echinoderms. They have a good capacity of regeneration. But in higher animals, regenerative ability is much greater in the embryonic and larval stages than in the adult. And in man, it is restricted to healing of injured tissue like skin, muscles, bones, blood vessels, and nerves. In them, once the organ is lost, it can't be regenerated. There are two types of regeneration: reparative regeneration and the restorative regeneration. First, reparative regeneration. So, multicellular organisms have ability to repair certain damaged cells of the body. And this type of reparative regeneration is common in both invertebrate as well as vertebrates. Then restorative regeneration. In this type of regeneration, multicellular organisms have the ability to redevelop the severed or several body parts, or the whole body can be formed from a body segment, and it is very common in invertebrates. Restorative regeneration can be occurred by epimorphosis or morpholepsis. This power, this generation varies in different group of animals, like autotomy power in some animals. Autotomy means like the self mutilation of the body is called autotomy. Actually, some parts of the body is broken off the body on being threatened by the enemy or predator. And this phenomena of self mutilation of the body is known as autotomy. The lost part may be tail, limb, viscera, or arm. You can see this type of restorative uh, regeneration in lizard. Lizards throw off their tail when encountered by any predator. Holothurians throw off their internal viscera, that is a respiratory tree. Starfish can regenerate the whole arm once it throws its arm. So, autotomy is a special adaptation for escaping the danger of attack by the enemy or predator. So, this is about restorative or reparative regeneration. There are two mechanisms of regeneration, and these mechanisms are recognized by T.H. Morgan. So, first is morpholepsis. It is the mechanism of reconstruction of entire animal from a small fragment by reorganizing the existing cells. The regenerated animal is very small than the original one after the completion of the process. but it grows to attain the normal size. Example, Hydra. Then epimorphosis. This mechanism replaces a lost organ of the body with, with the help of proliferation of new cells from the surface of the injured part. This type of mechanism can be seen in arthropods, salamanders, lizard. In arthropod, appendages can be regenerated. In starfish, arms can be regenerated. Salamander can regenerate its limb. Once the lizard throw off its tail, it can be regenerated with in this manner. So these are the two mechanisms of regeneration. Now examples of regeneration in invertebrates. So in among protozoans, amoeba has a very high power of regeneration. But one condition is there that they should have nucleus because nucleus is essential for regeneration. Then porifers sponges have a remarkable uh, power of regeneration. Any part of the body injured or cut off can get repaired or replaced. Small fragments of sponges can be grown into complete individuals. Then coelenterates, I've already told you, coelenterates have a remarkable power of regeneration. Hydra shows a regeneration. Tremblay in 1740 discovered it, the power of regeneration in coelenterates in Hydra. He reported that if Hydra is cut transversely into two or two or more parts, then each fragment can grow into a complete organism. In Hydra, regeneration occurs through mechanism of morpholepsis. Hydra has a unique capacity of regenerating its hypostome or oral end again and again. Then Platyhelminthes or flatworm. In them, planaria shows remarkable power of regeneration among the flatworms. As in Hydra, a small fragment of planaria can also develop into complete animal, though of a smaller size than the parental animal. Internal organs which are used up during starvation are also fully regenerated if food becomes uh, available to planaria. Then annelids. Annelids doesn't show much power of regeneration, but earthworm or oligochaetive cut into two halves, then each half may regenerate the lost parts. Among annelids, the regeneration power is restricted only to 4 or 5 segments at either end of the body. Then arthropods, insects, crabs, lobsters, spiders, they all can regenerate a lost leg. So in crayfish, if uh, any appendages or eyes removed, it can also be regenerated. So and regeneration is faster in the young ones than in the adult. Then mollusk. Mollusk doesn't show much power of regeneration. Gastropods are capable of regenerating certain body parts, like regeneration of like parts like eyes, eye stalk, and parts of head and foot. The cephalopods, example like cuttlefish, they can also regenerate their arms. Then echinodermids, they have a good power of at autotomy and regeneration. Starfish, if lose arms, then they can regenerate up to 4 arms. Holotherians, like sea cucumber, can lose its respiratory tree or visceral organ. This process is called evisceration, and it occurs in self-defense. As I told you, autotomy is a special adaptation for escaping the danger of attack by enemy or predator. Then examples of regeneration in vertebrates, ammosid larva of lamprey. It can regenerate the lost tail in fishes. Some fishes are also known to regenerate parts of fins. Amphibians, the salamander, newts, and axolotl larvae, they can regenerate several arms or legs, severed arm or legs. They can also regrow tail, jaws, external gills, intestine, and retina. Tadpole of frog and toad can regenerate tail and hind limbs. Adult frog and toad are unable to regenerate limbs. Then reptiles, certain lizards, they can regenerate a lost tail. You can see this example in wall lizard. When a wall lizard is threatened, it just lose its tail or leave the moving tail to detract the predator, and it again regenerate a new tail. In birds, beak can be regenerated. Mammals are unable to regenerate any of the external parts, but they can readily regenerate the liver, because liver has the maximum capacity of regeneration. Even removal of over half of the liver can be fully replaced. So these are some examples of regeneration in vertebrates. Now, regeneration of limb in salamander. So these are some steps. So first is a wound healing. Second is blastema formation. Third is redifferentiation or and morphogenesis. And last is growth. So wound healing. In wound healing, the epidermal cells from the edges of the cut migrate and spread over the exposed area. So here you can see these are the epidermal cells. This is epidermis. These are the connective tissue, muscle, bone, and it is a freshly cut surface. So near this surface, epidermal cells uh, migrate and spread over the exposed areas. Then second step is blastema formation. So a few days after the healing of the cut, the undifferentiated cells accumulate inside the epidermis. And due to this cellular aggregation, a stumpy outgrowth or budge is formed, that is blastema. So this is a blastema. Then redifferentiation and morphogenesis. So the blastema develops rudiments of digits by indentation at the free edge, and this grows into new digits. So it is a region of redifferentiation. This is the region of dedifferentiation, and this is the region of redifferentiation, and it is a blastema. Then growth. The regenerated limb increases till it attains the size of normal limb. So wound healing, blastema formation, redifferentiation and morphogenesis, and regenerated limb increases till it attains the size of normal limb. Now, control of regeneration. The exact mechanism is not known, but there are few things which may affect the regeneration or which may control the regeneration. So first is epithelium. So according to C.S. Thornton, 1960, the presence of wound epithelium, that is which covers the amputated surface, is necessary for blastema formation. And this epidermal cap act as a stimulus for the aggression of the blastemal cells of the mesenchyme, and this establishes an epithelium mesenchyme interaction. It is also reported that if the epidermal cap is placed acentrically, an acentric blastema is formed, while if it is continually removed, blastema formation can be prevented. So epithelium has an important role in the regeneration. Then second is a neural trophic factor. If limb is first denervated and then amputated, or if nerves are by any means blocked from penetrating the epidermis, no regenerative blastema will be formed. But if the amputated limb is denervated after the initiation of blastema formation, regeneration process will be continued and a new limb will be formed. Then hormones. Adrenal gland and pituitary gland have, a, have an important role in influencing the regenerative process. So it is the control of regeneration. So today, uh, first of all, I explained definition of regeneration. Then there are two types of regeneration: reparative generation and restorative generation. Then two mechanisms of regeneration: morpholepsis and the epimorphosis. Morpholepsis, regeneration of hydra is one of the examples of morpholepsis, and regeneration of limb in a salamander and tail in a lizard are some of the examples of epimorphosis. Then in invertebrates, protozoa, porifers, coelentrates, platyhelminthes, annelids, arthropods, mollusks, echinoderms all shows regeneration. Then in vertebrates, all fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals, they also have ability to regenerate their lost parts, some of the lost parts. Then regeneration of limb in a salamander, which involves foramen steps, wound healing, plastema formation, redifferentiation, and morphogenesis, and then growth. That is, the regenerated limb increases and attains the size of normal limb. Then epithelium, neural trophic factor, and hormones have an important role in controlling the regeneration. Thank you.